People respect fear because fear is loud, sudden, and violent in its impact, but they follow strength because strength is silent, consistent, and unavoidable. And understanding this difference is the line between being obeyed temporarily and being followed permanently, because fear works like a shock. It freezes people, it forces quick compliance, and it creates immediate reaction, but it never creates loyalty, trust, or long-term alignment. And the moment fear weakens, disappears, or is challenged, respect collapses instantly, because fear is borrowed power. It only exists as long as the threat exists, whereas strength is earned power, built slowly through control, discipline, and consistency. And this is where most people fail to understand human psychology, because they confuse intimidation with authority, noise with dominance, and aggression with power, when in reality, the most dangerous people are rarely the loudest. They are the calmest ones in the room, the ones who do not need to explain themselves, the ones who do not react emotionally, and the ones whose presence alone changes behavior, because fear forces people to look at you, but strength forces people to watch you, calculate you, and eventually align with you. And alignment is far more powerful than obedience, because obedience ends the moment pressure is removed, but alignment continues even when you are not present. And this is why leaders, not bullies, shape history, control systems, and dominate environments, because fear-based control always creates resistance under the surface, while strength-based control creates acceptance, even admiration. And the psychology behind this is simple but brutal. Human beings are wired to survive, and survival pushes people to obey fear in the short term, but it also pushes them to secretly look for a way out, a way around, or a way to overthrow the source of fear, because fear triggers defense mechanisms, resentment, and silent rebellion, whereas strength triggers respect, curiosity, and submission without force, because strength signals safety, competence, and stability, and people naturally gravitate toward what feels stable in an unstable world, which is why emotional, aggressive, and reactive individuals can scare people, but they never build empires, never sustain influence, and never create loyalty, because their power depends on constant pressure, constant enforcement, and constant emotional energy, and the moment they slip, they are challenged, replaced, or ignored. Whereas strong individuals do not chase control, they attract it, because their discipline, boundaries, and calm authority speak louder than threats ever could. And this is why fear is easy to use, but expensive to maintain, while strength is hard to build, but cheap to sustain, because once people recognize real strength, you do not need to remind them, you do not need to threaten them, and you do not need to explain yourself. Your past actions, consistency, and self-control become your reputation, and reputation is the most powerful psychological weapon, because people act based on what they believe you are capable of, not what you say, and fear-based individuals rely on words, volume, and pressure, while strength-based individuals rely on silence, history, and certainty. And this difference shows everywhere, in the streets, in workplaces, in families, in friendships, and in leadership, because people obey fear when they have no choice, but they follow strength when they believe it benefits their survival, growth, or stability. And following is always voluntary, while obedience is always temporary. And the dark mindset understands that forcing compliance creates enemies, while projecting strength creates allies, and allies multiply power without effort, while enemies drain energy endlessly. And this is why thug psychology at its highest level is not chaos, but control, not violence, but restraint, because restraint signals confidence, and confidence signals power, and power creates gravity, and gravity pulls people in without force. And emotional people never understand this, because they think power about domination, when real power about influence, and influence comes from predictability, reliability, and controlled behavior, because when people know you are stable, they trust your reactions, and when they trust your reactions, they feel safe following you, even if they fear disappointing you. And this is a key difference, Fear of harm creates resistance, but fear of losing respect creates discipline. And discipline is the backbone of every strong system, because systems collapse under emotional leadership, but thrive under controlled leadership. And the reason people respect fear is because fear threatens loss, pain, or punishment. But the reason they follow strength is because strength promises direction, protection, and progress. And humans will always choose progress over panic when given the option, which is why fear can win battles. But strength wins wars, and this applies directly to personal life as well, because if you rely on fear to control situations, people will comply outwardly, but betray you inwardly. But if you rely on strength, people will align even when you are absent, because they believe in your capability, and belief is more powerful than threat. And this is why emotional explosions, shouting, and aggression destroy authority rather than build it, because they reveal loss of control. And the moment you lose control of yourself, you signal weakness, not strength, and weakness invites challenge, because people test instability, but avoid stability, and strength is stability under pressure. And this is why calmness in chaos is such a dominant psychological signal, because it tells everyone watching that you are not overwhelmed, not threatened, and not reactive, and therefore not easy to manipulate, and people follow those they cannot manipulate, because manipulation requires emotional access, and strength blocks emotional access, while fear invites emotional reactions, and reactions create openings, and openings invite exploitation. And this is why fear-based power always leaks, while strength-based power compounds, because strength builds trust, respect, and predictability over time, and fear erodes relationships, loyalty, and internal support. And the dark truth is that most people choose fear because it is fast, because building strength takes time, discipline, and self-control. And emotional people do not have patience. They want immediate results, immediate obedience, immediate validation, and this impatience exposes their weakness, because impatience is emotional, and emotion clouds judgment, and clouded judgment leads to bad decisions, and bad decisions destroy authority. And this cycle repeats endlessly until fear-based individuals burn out, are challenged, or are replaced, while strength-based individuals rise quietly because they invest in self-mastery, consistency, and long-term leverage. And leverage is the ability to influence outcomes without force, and the highest level of power when people do what you expect without being told. And that only happens when strength is recognized, respected, and trusted. And the final truth is this: fear makes people look at you, strength makes people stand behind you. Fear creates silence in the moment. Strength creates silence in the crowd. Fear controls bodies, strength controls minds. And if you want respect that lasts, influence that grows, and power that does not collapse under pressure, you must stop relying on fear and start building strength, because fear can make people step back, but strength makes them fall in line. And in a world full of noise, aggression, and emotional chaos, the one who stays calm, controlled, and disciplined will always be the one others choose to follow, because strength does not need permission, it does not need explanation, and it does not need approval. It simply exists, and when it exists long enough, the world adjusts around it.